Hello my friends, my name is Rich and welcome to Greatest Rock and Metal. On Greatest Rock and Metal I talk about what are for me the greatest rock albums, bands, gigs of all time, based on listening to thousands of albums and going to hundreds of gigs over many years. Please press the red button below to subscribe to the channel. It's free, it's easy to do, and it will only take a few seconds of your time. Thank you very much. Today is album review, and I'm going to be reviewing the new album from the band Mammoth WVH. And for those of you who have been living under a rock and don't know who Mammoth WVH are, well, this is the solo project of a guy by the name of Wolfgang Van Halen. That very famous surname there. This solo album has been much anticipated for a number of years now, and it was released last month, and I'll be honest, it's been kind of stuck on my turntable ever since. A little bit about Wolfgang Van Halen, or Wolfie as he's often known as. Well, he first came to prominence as the bass player for the band Van Halen, his father's band Van Halen. At the age of 16, he was asked to step in to replace the previous Van Halen bass player, Michael Anthony. Now, there was a lot of controversy about this at the time. Why was Eddie bringing in his son and not bringing back the original bass player, Michael Anthony? Because they were reuniting to do a tour, a 2007 tour, with original singer as well, David Lee Roth. Well, we later found out that the reason was quite simply because it made Eddie feel more comfortable to be back on the road, and that if his son wasn't going to be there as part of the band, he just wasn't going to do it. I was lucky enough to get myself over to the States to see Wolfie play as part of Van Halen on that tour, and he was fantastic, as was the band. It was a phenomenal reunion. I'd only seen Van Halen once before on their 1984 tour. Check back on a previous video for my thoughts about that. And to see them again with Dave Lee Roth, wow, very, very exciting, especially to see them in their home country as well. Sorry, when I say I'd only seen Van Halen once before, I'd only seen them once before with Dave Lee Roth. I'd also seen them a couple of times with Sammy Hagar, a singer. Again, you can check out a previous video about both versions of the Van Halen band. So, Wolfie became the bass player in Van Halen. He did one studio album with them, the very great A Different Kind of Truth album. Check this album out. Again, subject to a bit of criticism at the time, but for me it's a very, very strong Van Halen album. And his bass playing on that album was fantastic. Also, he has been a bass player for the band Tremonti for a number of years now, and he's done a couple of albums with them. The band Tremonti is the solo project of Mark Tremonti, lead guitarist for Creed and Alter Bridge, and he does Wolfie does a great job as playing bass in that band too. But we'd heard from Tremonti about Wolfie doing a solo album and how good it was, but we didn't realize why it was taking so long, and it was only in recent times that we realized it was taking so long because Wolfie wanted to spend time with his father as Eddie Van Halen was in critical illness, and Wolfie obviously wanted to spend time with his father rather than spend time creating the new album. But time then moves on, and then we get from Wolfie just a few weeks ago the debut solo album. And it really is a true solo album in the respect that he does everything apart from produce it. He plays all of the instruments and he sings all of the vocals, and what an amazing talent. An amazing talent. His ability at all of those is quite fantastic, as well as his ability to write and construct songs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So the kind of introduction to the album came last year, in November 2020 last year. A video was released for the song Distance. A really both heartwarming and heartbreaking video, which showed various home footage of Wolfie growing up with his father, Eddie Van Halen, and obviously the background to the video was this new song, Distance. An incredible song, an incredible video. If you've not seen it, then really do look out for that video. It was a really popular song, and still is today, and a great introduction to the album. 4 more songs from the album were also released over a period of time leading up to the album's release itself, and then here we have it. It's a double album and gatefold, so we've got this giant crab on the front of it. Mammoth, get it? Very big, a giant crab. And we have then, as I say, double album. You've got the lyrics to the album here. I was lucky enough to get hold of the limited edition clear vinyl. Very nice, with different parts of the artwork used as the label. Obviously the other vinyl is exactly the same, but with just a different label artwork. And because I was able to get the limited edition version, I also am lucky enough to be in possession of a signed insert of the artwork. There you can probably see Wolfie's signature on that. And then we have the album cover itself. Now, on the album, there's some kind of special nods to his father's past. The first being the name of the band themselves. Obviously the WVH, Wolfgang Van Halen, but the main name of the band is Mammoth. And that was actually the first name of his father's band before they changed the name to Van Halen. So there's the first nod. The second nod is in the album cover itself, where you have beautiful picture there, father and son together, and the dedication to his dad. Then the back cover. Now, here we have a copy of Van Halen's debut album. And if you look at Van Halen's debut album, we have guitar, vocals, drums, and bass. If we look here, guitar, vocals, drums, and bass. So a little bit of a nod to his father's past there as well with the artwork. And then also, if you look at the original Van Halen album, the guitar that Eddie's holding there is what's known as his famous Frankenstrat guitar. And on the album, Wolfie plays the Frankenstrat guitar on a couple of the songs as well. So there's some lovely nods to his father's history on the album. as well. But it sounds absolutely nothing like his father's band. If you are hoping for a Van Halen 2, forget it. It's nothing like it, and to be honest, all the better for it. We've got Van Halen, we've got a beautiful body of work for Van Halen. We don't need a Van Halen 2. Let's have a new sound, and Wolfie has certainly produced that, and in spades. And before I talk a little bit about the music on the album, let's take a look at rock albums by the sea. Okay, so what about the album itself? Well, as always, I will pick my favourite 4 tracks from the album that will give you a flavour of what I think about the quality of the music. And the first track I will choose is the opening track, Mr. Ed. Now, this track is not actually a tribute to his father, although of course with the title Mr. Ed you might think of Mr. Edward. But this was just the working title for the song, and he just gave it that working title because he does some harmonic guitar tapping at the beginning of the song, and he kind of just put that, and that was his father's trademark, so he kind of put that as the working title for the song. What a brilliant opener. It's got a fantastic drum sound on it, and it's no surprise actually that the drumming work on this album throughout is brilliant, because that was the first instrument that Wolfie really took to, and he does some great drumming work and has really got a great drum sound on this album. But it's not just about the drums. This is a really strong opener, very catchy chorus, stunning guitar solo on this as well. And actually there's not many guitar solos on the album. It's quite devoid of those. Has some brilliant guitar work, but not many solos. Really great opener. The next track I will choose is the second track, Horribly Right. Great lyrics on this, very clever lyrics, and what a chorus. The chorus just, it's stuck in my head, and I find myself many days just humming that chorus, singing the chorus to myself. Turn out the light, I don't think, no. It's really great chorus, and a great song. And this song really showcases the vocal ability of Wolfie. I mean, he's an incredible musician, that he can play all these these musical instruments to the standard that he can, but my god, his vocals, he's got such a great range of vocal ability, and the melodies that he delivers on this album, and particularly on this song, are absolutely fantastic. And the guitar work, brilliant guitar work on this. There's no solo on this, but everything about this song, Horribly Right, is horribly right. It's fantastic. The next song, Don't Back Down. Wow. This was done as a music video as well. You have the Distance music video, and this was done as a music video as well, and it's a brilliant music video. You must go check it out. It's very original, very funny, and the song itself, in fact, I'm going to say that this is the best song on the album. It's got a great riff, brilliant riff, stunning drum and bass work on this song as well. Great rhythm section on it, and just listen to it. Go see the video. It's a great song. And then the final track I will choose is You're to Blame. This comes towards the end of the album. In fact, it's the 11th song on here. There's 14 songs overall, so it's a very long album. I think it clocks in at around about an hour. And You're to Blame, brilliant again. What particularly stands out on this song, it's got a Tom Morello style riff. If you've heard the first Audio Slave album, this song could fit very, very easily on the first Audio Slave album. The guitar work really sounds very, very similar to Morello, and he does actually, Wolfie does deliver a guitar solo on this song as well. It's a very angry song, and once again the vocal delivery on here is really, really good. So, I mean, in summary, this is just a fantastic debut album. It really, really is. It's full of in fact, there isn't a dud song on here, and that's tough to say nowadays, especially with an album that's around an hour long. To be able to enjoy every single song on here, that's a real achievement, and you can tell he's taken his time with it, and rightly so. Very, very good album. A real credit to the work that he's put into it, and everything is just brilliant. The musicianship is amazing, the vocal delivery is amazing, the structure of the song, the melodies, just perfection. It really is, and it's not often I say that about newer albums nowadays. And probably the only criticism that I will have about the album, it doesn't do anything particularly original, doesn't push the envelope in any way. It's just classic modern rock. You can imagine it all over many of these songs all over the radio in the United States, and rock radio, and nothing particularly gonna say, wow, never heard that before, or something like that. But it doesn't matter, because the quality of the songs is so great. What's going to be fascinating is what happens next. Now, of course, he's got a lot of publicity for this album because of who his father was, despite it being a great album. Even if it had been a dud album, he was still going to get a lot of publicity, because a lot of the media out there want to talk about his family relationship as well as the music. So it's going to be interesting in the future. There's a couple of things. First and foremost, he's put a band together that played a few live TV shows. There's no real image to the band as such. So it's going to be interesting. It really is just about the music, this band. He doesn't particularly come across as a great frontman, and so that's going to be interesting when they go out and play live. What is he like as a frontman? Because if it's just going to be standing there and almost shoegazing and delivering the songs, that could wear thin pretty quickly. Now, one thing we have seen in the glimpse that we've had behind the curtain of Wolfgang Van Halen is he does appear to have an incredible sense of humour. People who follow him on social media will have seen that sense of humour, and the video I mentioned earlier for Don't Back Down, that is a real great insight into the sense of humour he has. So I think for him to move forward in the future, we'll need to see that come out. Maybe in future music videos, maybe on stage somehow. Reminds me a little bit of Dave Grohl. And his transition in the early days from being a drummer from Nirvana behind the kit to becoming a frontman for the Foo Fighters, and how Grohl has evolved over the years and created this image for himself. And one of the interesting things, the comparisons I kind of see, is that the Foo Fighters have always been great at delivering pretty humorous videos, and when you see them in interviews as well, their sense of humor really comes across. And Dave Grohl has become an amazing frontman as well. He's really changed from just the guy behind the mic playing the guitar to a real stadium commanding frontman. So it'll be interesting to see how Mammoth develop from there. But regardless, great album for now. I'm hoping for great things in the future, and I would thoroughly recommend it. So there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. Please press the red button to subscribe to the channel. It's free, it's easy to do. Thank you again, and remember, as always, we rock!